Welcome to the Matheson Moot Court Competition instructional video. This video is intended to help you, as the participant, to be able to know what the expectation is. Some of you may be even 1Ls, brand new law students. This may be your first week of law school. Welcome. This is the competition for every law student. Whether you're a 1L, a 2L, or 3L, you can win this competition. Why? Because your knowledge of the law is not a critical factor. I remember when I was a 1L, I placed in the finals in this very competition. I know you can too. So the intent of this video is to explain what is this competition all about. How can you win? Well, first of all, it's called the Allen Matheson Moot Court Client Competition for a reason. Allen Matheson was a professor here at ASU and was well known for his ability to listen and ask provocative questions. That's important to you as an attorney. So this competition is critical whether you're a transactional attorney, bankruptcy attorney, litigator, any area of the law. You need to be able to relate to clients. This is the only competition that allows you to be able to demonstrate those skills, vital skills. Why? Doesn't matter how smart you are. You may be a great attorney, but if you can't retain clients, you're going to be out of business. So, let's get started. What is this competition all about and what is it like? First of all, you as a participant are going to get a handout days before the competition. What this handout will do is it will just simply explain what the client is, name and issue, landlord issue, or they own an apartment complex and need to talk to you. That may even be more information than you may get. You simply know you're going to be meeting with the client. However, the student that's going to be your client, they get a very detailed sheet explaining the facts, their concerns, and everything about it. So you're going to see a demonstration of me playing the attorney going through that very issue. And I'll share with you right now that that issue is a landlord-tenant issue. Your client is the landlord. He is stressed. You don't know that, but you need to find that out. He's about ready to lose his apartment complex. Asking provocative questions will help you understand that. But the crux of the issue is you need to find out what is his claim. Does he have a valid claim against his tenant? Secondly, you got to find out if there's any defenses. Is there a good reason why his tenant skipped out on him? Third, you got to be able to provide solutions. So let me break this down. I don't want to throw it out at you all at once. I encourage you to watch the instructional video where you can see a demonstration. You'll see firsthand what that looks like. But realize this before I even jump in. We as judges know 10 minutes is a very artificial amount of time to be able to do an initial consultation. We understand that. Normally you would have 30 to 60 minutes. We get that. Do your best. But in 10 minutes, you are able, trust me, you will be able to hit all the points that I'm going to bring up and show you on how to win this competition. Now, there are 8 areas that we are going to be grading you on that will pertain to a score from 1 being the worst to 5 being the best. And we grade you by awarding you points. The person with the most points moves on to the finals. And again, at the finals, those contestants will have a whole new problem, and the winner with the most points wins. Now, I'm grateful that we're able to sponsor this competition with prizes and with an exclusive lunch. So you do want to win. There's something in it for you. Now, what are we grading you on? First, you're never going to be able to build rapport without breaking the ice. And why do you want to build rapport? Because you want to convince that client you are the right attorney for them. Okay? So build rapport. How do you do that? You break the ice by asking a little chit-chat. You have to remember your client has probably been battling traffic, finding a parking spot, and has probably otherwise had a crazy day. When you greet them, how are you doing? Were you able to find us okay? Just small talk will put them at ease. That's the trick. Find a way to put your client at ease. Once you've done that, the next step is to adequately learn your client's problems. Every client has a problem, otherwise they wouldn't be seeing you. So what is that? this is where I recommend you ask direct, open-ended questions, such as, what brings you in today? Tell me more about your problem. Take notes. So you'll notice in the instructional video where I was taking notes. This is what my notepad looks, where I'm writing down key pieces of information and making notes to follow up with the client later on. I don't want to interrupt them, but I do need to direct their focus. Clients will go everywhere if you let them. So ask direct, open-ended questions. Okay? The third challenge is to obtain the client's goals and expectations. This is critical. You have to be able to ascertain what the client wants in the end. Otherwise, how do you know what you're achieving? Imagine, if you will, that you're trying to aim at a target without a bullseye. Goals will help you know what your client expects. And often clients have very unrealistic expectations. So part of your job will be to temper those expectations and be able to educate them, saying, this isn't necessarily realistic, you may have to be breaking some bad news. But ultimately, the goal is find out what their expectations are. Fourth, you need to analyze the problem. This is where you put your lawyer hat on. This is where you are now going to be asking critical questions. Once you've found the goals and the expectations, and you got your client problem, now this is where you do the talking. This is where you educate your client, okay? They don't know what they don't know, okay? So it's very important that you explain to your client the strengths and merits of their case, as well as the weak points. And if there's any valid defenses, you need to raise it. You have a moral obligation to be able to educate your client as to the weakness of their case. Too many lawyers can just take money and totally miss their client's goals and expectations. Set them straight, set them early, okay? Next, you need to identify moral issues. So you're going to notice in the instructional video, there are a couple of moral issues. There's two moral issues that come up. One is, can I even represent this client chasing money to the tune of $8,500? Is there a defense that would prohibit me from sending that demand letter? I don't know. You're going to see that I tell the client I need to research that issue and make sure that isn't a problem, because there were such bad things that was a defense that may have mitigated the lease altogether. So realize you're not an attorney. We understand that. But identifying that is a great way to score bonus points. Next, there are often issues that come up that prohibit you from doing something. So you're going to notice that I solicited from the client his stress on money, and he brings up this issue about sharing an interest in his apartment complex as payment. Can't do it. Now, we understand, especially you first-year students, you may not be aware of the ethical obligations that attorneys are under. We understand that. However, if you identify these moral issues and bring them up, you will have more points awarded to you. Okay, next, course of action. This is probably the most important part. Before your client leaves the initial consultation, they need to know, what are you going to do for them? How is that going to help them reach their goals? What's the next step? So, you're going to see in the instructional video that I explain to him what I'm going to do, what I need to do before we move on. And I give him a framework so he has realistic expectations. I'm not going to go out there and get this $8,500 until I find out whether I can and whether these defenses are viable. So it's very important that you develop a course of action for your client so that they understand what the next step is. Next, you have to inform your client of options. These are very similar because Again, there may be options in the instructional video. This wasn't really a big thing where you could go ahead and explore different options because the facts just didn't lend themselves. But sometimes you're going to get a situation where there's 2 or 3 things that you could do. Mine was pretty clear in the instructional video. We'd send a demand letter if the research showed that we could go ahead and do that and pursue the claim. That's where you would simply go. There wasn't really any other options, but the prompt that you have may have that. So make sure that you consider all the options, educate the client to which option is best and why. Okay. Effective conclusion. This is where you need to sell the client. And that's perhaps where I wasn't as great in the instructional video. I wasn't sure if we were out of time yet. But this is where you would normally explain why you should be picked, why you're the right attorney for them, and this is where you bring up that sensitive topic, money, fees. So it's very important that you explain how you get paid and what that expectation is. If contingency is requested by the client, it's important that you explain to them what it is and whether or not this is the right kind of case for that. Realize that your firm will need to approve that contingency matter. Don't give your client false hope or false expectations. Be realistic, but sell yourself to that client. They're going to interview other attorneys. You want them to pick you, but you also want to be realistic. So having said that, these are the 8 areas that we're going to be grading you from 1 to 5. We'll be tallying you up. We're going to simply be adding it up. And again, this is a competition that you don't necessarily have to have legal knowledge. I will encourage you, though, that once you do get that prompt, you find out that this is a landlord-tenant issue, it may be helpful if you want to just crack open a case law book or something about landlord-tenant, but it's not necessary. Unlike the other moot court competitions, this does not require a lot of preparation. Do rehearse, do think about it, but it's really your nerves, thinking critically, asking important questions. You'll do great. Again, thanks for your interest, and we hope you sign up and participate. Good luck.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Likewise, welcome.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Sam Stevens.
Great. You find this okay, Sam?
I did.
Fantastic. What brings you in today?
Well, I have a tenant issue.
Explain. Are you a landlord or are you the
Yeah,
renter?
I'm a landlord and owner of Desert Oasis Luxury Apartments.
Okay.
We're in Tempe.
Fantastic.
And I have a tenant who skipped town.
Oh no. Tell me about that. What's the name of the tenant?
The tenant is Philip Fry.
Okay. And so you say he skipped town, so I assume he left the unit before he paid the lease?
That's right. So it was a 12-month lease. He left with 2 months left.
Wow. Okay, so 2 months remaining. So he owes you 2 months rent. And how much was the rent per month?
The rent was $1,500.
Okay. Was there a security deposit?
No, there wasn't. There was no security deposit. However, if they want pets, they have to do a pet deposit, but that's a separate agreement.
Okay. So did he have a pet?
Well, it looks like he did because after he had moved out, I came in and the carpets were ruined. There was pet turds and everything.
Hair?
Fur, hair, everything. The carpets were ruined.
All right. So it sounds like not only did he break the lease by not paying you, but he also had a pet, even though he didn't disclose that to you for a security deposit.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Okay, well, let's talk about the unit itself. Did he damage the property in any way?
Yeah, he did. I don't know how he did it, but somehow he ripped out the washer and dryer.
He took the washer dryer that came with the unit?
Yes,
So-
each unit comes with a washer and dryer. And
Wasn't
I don't know
it?
how, but he ripped them out, took them with him.
Okay. What's the value of the washer and dryer?
About 1,500
Each or pair?
pair, including labor.
Okay. All right. Any other damage to the property? The carpet's okay, or was that destroyed by the
The
pets?
carpet was destroyed. I got a quote on that. It looks like it's going to be about $1,000 to rip it up and replace it.
Okay. So what do you believe that he owes you in total? And can you break that down for me?
Yeah, I have all the receipts and stuff for you.
Fantastic.
But it's about $8,500.
Okay. And how do you total that?
$6,000 for the 4 months skipped rent.
Now you said it was 2 months that he had skipped out. Where's the other?
I'm sorry, I meant 4 months.
Oh,
He
okay.
left 2 months before the lease was up,
Uh-huh.
but he had skipped 4 months of rent. He stopped paying 2 months before he left. Sorry, I wasn't very clear
Okay,
about
no
that.
worries. I'm glad I clarified that. So
Yeah.
4 months rent.
Yes, 4 months rent owed.
Okay, and so that came to $6,000. And real quick, you didn't proceed with any eviction proceedings when it was 2 months late, or what happened there?
You know, I was really busy at the time. I didn't really do anything about it. He had been a perfect tenant. He'd been there for 3 years.
Oh, really?
So, I don't know, I figured I'd cut him some slack or...
Okay. So 6,000 in the rent. What's the remaining 2,500 coming from?
The 1,500 for the washer and dryer and labor,
Right.
and the 1,000 for the replacement and labor of the carpet.
Carpet. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I understand how that all breaks down. Okay, so sounds like he owes you quite a bit of money. Do you have any idea where he is? Have you tried reaching him?
I tried reaching him on the number that he gave me on the lease.
Mhm.
I couldn't reach him at all. I tried looking him up online. Nothing really came up. I guess he was pretty upset the night he left. He left May 23rd of this year.
Okay, why would he be upset?
Well, I think he was unhappy about the way it was run.
Meaning his unit or the apartment complex in itself?
He was unhappy about some neighbors, maybe a little bit of the unit,
Okay.
stuff like that.
So let's dive into that, because one of the things we have to do is explore, does he have any defenses as to why he wouldn't be paying the rent? So did you have any complaints? Did he file any complaints? Are there any complaints from neighbors?
Yeah, there was like 12 complaints.
Okay, so let me just remind you, and I should have said this at the outset, is that this is attorney-client privileged. Anything you
Okay.
share with me is within this confines of our relationship.
Okay.
So I need to know everything in order to be able to represent you properly, because the last thing that I want is to go down a path only to find out, had we mitigated the damage, we would have had a better result. So tell me exactly.
Okay. Well, I
What
don't want to get in
complaints?
trouble.
Well, again,
For
I'm your
anything.
attorney. I'm not responsible to report this to anyone. I'm here to help you to make the best of the
Well,
situation.
are you my attorney right now?
Well, this meeting is covered under attorney-client privilege.
Oh.
So although you have not retained me as your attorney, it is still protected.
Oh, okay.
So you may recall when you contacted my paralegal and she got your name and the address
Yeah.
and phone number, we run a conflict check on you. And to
Okay.
just make sure that we could represent you if we needed to. So we have no conflict. This is attorney-client privilege.
Okay.
Okay? So tell me about the complaints.
Yeah, so
So if I understand you right, basically Philip Fry left without notice his unit. He owes you approximately $8,500, and that consists of 4 months worth of rent, a washer and dryer he stole, and carpet damage. Not to mention he didn't have a security deposit, which he should have had because
okay.
he had pets. Did I get that right? Have I missed any of that?
Yeah, well, he should have had a pet deposit.
Right.
That's a separate agreement
Mhm.
that he didn't sign.
But on the flip side, it sounds like there could be some defenses that he would have. But long story short, in our initial consultation, I just want you to be aware of what your rights are, which again, you have every right to go after him for the $8,500 he
Okay.
owes. Just be aware that I'm going to need to do some further research to find out whether he has a defense that would mitigate or eliminate your claim.
Okay.
And if that's the case, then I'm gonna say, yeah, we could go ahead and try to send a demand letter, perhaps. Again, I have to decide whether that's even ethical. So that's something I gotta evaluate, is whether I can, in good faith, chase someone for money for a lease that they have a valid defense to.
Okay.
That's something I'll look at. But you asked about money.
Yeah,
And I
so-
understand that you're stressed.
So, yeah, I'm kind of pinching pennies here, so I actually have a proposition for you.
Okay, what's that?
I'm willing to offer an interest in my Desert Oasis luxury apartments
Wow.
in lieu of a fee.
I understand that you're desperate, but I can't take that, nor can any attorney. It's against the rules of ethics in the state of Arizona.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why? Why is that?
Well, we're not able to take an interest in the claim that we would be pursuing. So the only thing we could do, and unfortunately, this isn't the kind of case that we do it for, it's called a contingency, where
Okay.
we would wait to collect the $8,500 from him, and then we would get a percentage, so it's typically 1/3. But this isn't the kind of case that typically merits that, because those are big cases where we're taking a lot of risks that we're even going to get paid if we're successful. If we're not successful,
Okay.
then
That makes sense.
we have a risk. So, long story short, although I'm happy to run it by the firm to see if they'd reconsider, otherwise I think we're going to have a deposit. My billable rate is $200 an hour.
Okay.
And again, I would need to do some research on this. That would probably take an hour or two. I'm going to send a demand letter, assuming that research is okay. That's going to take an hour or two. So I would need a deposit of $1,000 just to get started.
Okay.
Now, I know that's tight for you. How is that something you need to think about? Otherwise,
Well, my wife's a financial advisor, and I think we can rustle that up.
okay, great. So I will have this engagement letter for you that makes me your attorney. You
Okay.
deposit $1,000, and then we will just work off that $1,000 at the rate of $200 per hour. And
Okay.
again, I will get back to you once you paid that and sign my engagement letter. I will research these issues and see if you have a good claim.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions for me?
I think that's it.
Okay. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.